I'm Rick, and I'm putting some solid ballast into a speargun. Some spearguns have a tendency to float, especially those made of low-density wood or those with a large body. If you add ballast to those spearguns, you can make them very close to neutral buoyancy, which makes them a lot easier to move around in the water and to track fish with. Some spearguns I use lead shot. When it's embedded in the gun, it can look quite attractive. The lead shot has gaps between the individual pieces of shot. This means it's not as dense as solid lead, and it means you can't pack as much weight into a given volume. It's also possible to use a solid piece of lead that can be embedded into the speargun. A solid lump can be useful when you don't have a lot of space to muck around with, and if you're not too worried about the way it looks. For this particular gun, I wanted to be quick and dirty. It's something that should kill fish quite effectively, but perhaps don't want to spend too much time making it look too pretty. So I decided to use a solid lump. If you're going to embed ballast into a speargun, you need a suitable hole there first, and you'd like that to look at least a bit neat. I decided to use a trimmer router with a guide to cut the holes. The router has a collar with a protruding funnel, I don't know what you'd call it. But you can see what it looks like here, how it fits into the base of the router, and how the bit extends out through the centre of the collar. If you have a suitable guide, the collar arrangement allows you to cut very accurately. I made my guide by gluing up several strips of 3-ply to leave a nice little hole in the middle. The hole in the guide was the same width as the lead ballast, with just a little bit more to allow for the distance between the edge of the collar and the edge of the bit in the router. Then I powered up the router and cut the slots, maybe in about 5mm increments in depth. I dropped the lead in to double check that it fit. The next step was to embed the lead in resin. You can use epoxy, but this time I decided to use polyester resin because it was there. Before I did anything, I made sure that it was dead level. I used masking tape to make a bit of a dam to stop spillage and allow me to overfill the slots slightly. I did some rough calculations and came to the conclusion that about 50ml of resin would be adequate to fill the hole and just leave a little bit more over for safety's sake. I mixed the resin according to the instructions. A radical approach, I know. The big enemy is getting bubbles trapped in that resin, so it's important to mix it gently and pour it in gently. I pour a little in first, then carefully drop the lead in after. Then top up to slightly overfill. Still got a few surface bubbles though. I let the resin cure overnight. I've torn most of the masking tape off. You can see that there are edges there and it's not dead flat. I'll file it down till it's smooth with the surface of the wood. Then I'll sand it with 120 grit and paint it with varnish when I do the final coat on the gun. It'll come up clear and it'll look good.